Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night.
Good night, Malaysian 370.
Breaking news tonight, a Malaysia Airlines flight with 239 people on board, including 4 Americans, has gone missing.
From the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
Yo, what's up, chat? How are we doing tonight? Welcome. Sneaker grails on the Elon Musk website, he says. Okay. I messed up on my alignment here. Oh, hold on a sec, chat. Okay, guys. Gonna keep this short tonight. Yeah, try to clip it for me or something, man. I looked on the Twitter website there for what you just mentioned. So someone in the chat was just mentioning that supposedly there is proof of the physics working or something of the orbs. This is a sneaker. This is somebody's sneaker Twitter. So I don't know that one you mentioned. Oh, go to his replies. Okay, we'll take a look at that in a sec. So, guys, what's on the agenda for today? Again, first thing, I'm trying to keep stuff high and tight with respect to the streams because we got people who are watching the next day. I don't want them to... oh, here it is right here. Yeah. I don't want them to get bored or whatever. So we'll start with this. This post here in the replies, supposedly, that we're going to take a look at. And then let me see what we got on the agenda here for today. We're going to go through some Reddit drama because, oh boy, it's spicy out there. It's spicy. Ever since the cloud rebunk, it's getting spicy. My Redditors out there are losing their minds, my man. Losing their minds. Let's see. We're going to have we're going to call out some UFO Twitter people. Not like really call them out in that way. We're going to try to get them. We got a little thing planned there. I want to get your feedback on some stuff. We're going to post a satellite video. And we might do that first, actually. I think we're going to start with a satellite video after we look at this. And then we're going to do a little bit of the breakdown of the letter again. So that's what we got on the agenda for today. Let me see if I have the letter breakdown. Notes about letter to me, I do. Okay, sweet. Okay. I think we're good. Also, just in case you're curious, I jumped on a space today with Jacob Chansley. For not too long, like 30 minutes or so. Spoiler, it was about COVID and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, actually no, it was about like censorship and stuff like that. But you know, that leads to that. One thing leads to the other, so to speak. So I can't wait for people to start clipping that. Okay, let's jump into it, folks. Full screen, here we go. Let's get it started. So I think this is the video he's talking about here. I'm not revealing DMs, am I? No, okay. I'm pretty bad at that. Is this the one? I don't get it. It's a drain. What am I missing, chat? What am I missing? Is that the video? Is that the video? Well, whatever. Okay, that was something. That was something, folks. Okay. Oh, whoops, forgot. Okay, so we're going to post the satellite video next. So, quick satellite video. Let's post. Okay. High quality satellite video. Wants me to zoom in on the bubbles, man. I don't know, man. That's a little much, man. Not sure about all that. Okay, so yeah, no, we're not going back to that. Sorry, that was it for that. That was it for that, guys. Let me see. So, God, jeez, what is going on with the cords here? Can't type. Okay, satellite video analysis. What I want to point out here, so on the satellite video analysis, what I want to point out is that the coordinates in the bottom left, if I were to make this go full screen, the coordinates in the bottom left are not moving when the satellite moves, right? So this rules out that we're not looking through a satellite. Simply not what's happening here, right? They're not changing the satellite. The satellite wouldn't react that quickly. It's not just moving around there when somebody shifts it around. That's not how it works. So, what do we want to say here? We want to say that what do I want to say? I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. So early on in the investigation, people were speculating that the satellite was moving here. Now, I'm going to get rid of the bold here. So this is because... Promoting into a central. Actually, that sounds really good. I gotta get rid of the bold here. Okay, so notice in the MH370 video that the coordinates change when the perspective of the view shifts. This proves we're looking at a computer program consistent with the user logged into a Citrix session or remoted into a satellite database. If we were looking down. Through a satellite, low Earth orbit, LEO, low. Okay, sweet. Yeah, it's an ultra wide view as well. Yeah, we know that because maybe I'll even add that in. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So notice the MH370 satellite video that the coordinates change when the perspective of the video shifts. This proves we're looking at a computer program consistent with the user logged into a Citrix session, remoting into a central database. If we were looking down through the satellite in low Earth orbit, I didn't say anything about the mouse. If we were looking down through a satellite in low Earth orbit, then the coordinates would be constantly changing because of the speed of the satellite. The speed of the satellite, let's say, is very fast. Let's say because the satellite very quickly. Because the satellites move very quickly. It's like satellite moves very quickly. Low LEOs orbit the Earth every 90 minutes. We also know it's an ultra-wide field of view because the mouse goes off the screen in the top right and the bottom left. This frame rate is 6 per second. Because yep. I think that's good, right? How's that? Yeah, the mouse is scrolling through the capture exactly, Chip Messiah. It's got a huge field of view, right? It could be very big. We have no idea how big it is, really, right? We just know that the mouse they're looking through the screen capture. I think we'll just leave it at that. So UFO Korea, if you're out there, I guess I'm giving you credit verbally on here for I guess you deserve the credit. I don't know why he's being so weird about this. He like blocked me after that stream the other night. I think he blocked me before that because he was so upset that I went on a podcast where I didn't give him credit for this, even though we had already speculated this. It'd be one thing if you like put it into writing or something and like wrote a document and had evidence to support it, but if you're just coming up with ideas, like I don't think you should really be expecting that everybody's going to source you on ideas that contribute. It's a little weird, man. Apparently Jeremy had a falling out with the guy too. He's just a little out there, man. Okay. We also know ultra-wide field of view because the mouse goes off the screen, bottom left. Let's say it. I think this is good. Okay, I'm just going to go over it one more time. Notice the MH370 videos, the coordinates change when the perspective of the video shifts. This proves we're looking at a computer program consistent with the user logged into a Citrix session, remoting into a central database. If we were looking down through a satellite in low Earth orbit, then the coordinates would be constantly changing because the satellite moves very quickly. LEOs orbit the Earth every 90 minutes. We know it's ultra-wide field of view because when it goes off the screen to the top right and the bottom left, the frame rate of the mouse is 6 for 24 seconds, but the background is 6 frames per second. 6 frames per second because of the large amount of computer processing. Okay. These are very weird details to fake, right? Yeah, I've been off the stereoscopic thing for a while. I mean, we have 2 satellites that are there. So just in case people are new and they've just been catching up and they're not there, I mean, we have 2 satellites that can create stereoscopic view. I mean, they're there. So if the regicide one, like, I don't know how to tell the difference between stereoscopic imagery and if, like, it's been converted to stereoscopic. I don't know we can prove it one way or another. It just doesn't matter. The reason why I'm posting this one is because this one's higher quality. You can actually see the coordinate shifts. So this one is high quality, so you can clearly see the coordinate shifts. This is actually the best one. I'll pull it up over here. So hold on. Because you can clearly see the coordinate shifts in this one. Right, look at those in the bottom left. You can see it super clearly. It's not cropped at all. It's harder to see in the regicide anon ones, which tells us again that this is like somebody else is putting it up there. But let's post this. Citrix should probably be capitalized. Okay. Add to highlights. Post in the chat. Brigade it, folks. Brigade it. We're brigading, guys. Satellite video analysis. It's weird. All of a sudden, when I post these in my Discord, now they do like the whole embed thing without me having to do anything. Before they didn't do that. I don't get it. Maybe Discord did some change. Maybe they updated. Okay. Brigaded up. So yeah, hello everybody who's out there. Nice to see you guys. Thanks for jumping on. I'm going a little quick today because I kind of want to go play some video games, actually. I got irking ever since that Pals World game came out. You guys know I'm a Pokemoner, although I haven't played Pokemon in a while, but supposedly there's a... What are you doing, Lulu? Supposedly there's a game I want to check out. So, okay. Ooh, yes, guys, Reddit. Ooh, we haven't been to Reddit in a while. I mean, technically I posted the conspiracy post, but... So, Reddit has been having a meltdown. It's entertaining, folks. It's entertaining. We got some... I don't know what's going on, but it's a straight-up war between the people who are trying to prove the cloud images fake and the people that are trying to debunk the videos. It's a straight-up war. So if you weren't here last time, then... Oh, I'm probably going to be on Kick, by the way, but I haven't set that up yet. If you weren't here last night, then there was a debunk that's come out, and it's probably been out for a couple days, but I just finally reported on it. And that debunk is that they found an image that has the Jonas cloud image in it, and it's the exact same angle and the exact same sunlight on the Mount Fuji. Like, exactly the same, guys. Exactly the same. In fact, we'll just scroll down, and it's somewhere down here. Here. So even, I think this one's Punjabi Batman. I think he's got a few accounts banned. But I mean, it's exactly the same. When it's flipping back and forth like that, that's actually going between the Jonas Cloud picture and the one they found on Flickr. I mean, it's... How many pixels match? Like all of them. All of them. Right? All of them. And it's not a matter of having to, like, change it around from black to white and anything like that. It's just straight up perfect match. It's too funny. Chin Pokemon, Duck Vision, thank you very much, buddy. Where's the other one? Where's the other one? This one. I mean, it's a perfect match. Even the cloud, the shadows are an exact match as well. I mean, it's a perfect match. So I can't get enough of this because what can the debunkers possibly say? Well, they're doing exactly what you would expect. Are they admitting that they were wrong about it? Of course they're not. So if we just flipped roles, if we were trying to say that those images were real, the debunkers would look at this and they would say it's 100% been disproven just based on this image and the fact that it clearly came from this image and they added the clouds to it, right? Like, that's what the argument that we're using here, right? Is that the Flickr image, they found the Flickr image. The Flickr image is from 2012. They found the Flickr image, added the clouds to it, and used that to debunk the videos, right? And why is that a compelling argument? Is that we already proved the clouds were moving and evolving in the video. We already proved the clouds were moving and evolving. So we had already ruled out 2D assets, but the debunkers just ignored that, right? They said, oh, we could add visual effects to make it work. It would be easy. You don't know how VFX works. So now the tables have been flipped. Tables have been turned, folks. And what are the debunkers doing? Are they admitting they were wrong? No, of course they're not. Of course they're not. Now they're going, oh, well, any two pictures of Mount Fuji look the same. Any two pictures of Mount Fuji look the same. Now they're trying to say that, oh, and the best part is that, what's the one? Where is it? Oh, here it is. Look at this guy. This guy's having a total meltdown. This Where in Texas guy, total meltdown. Look at this. It doesn't match. It's been blended and it's been stretched. You mean like they did with the clouds? You mean like they did with the VFX? The VFX has been totally manipulated. Somebody would have to spend hours moving the pixels around to get it to match. I mean, and it would be impossible if you didn't have something to compare it to. This one, you can just literally overlay it. Like, you don't have to do anything. You can just... I mean, if anything, maybe change the darkness in the background slightly. I mean, that's not even anything at all, though. That's not changing. We're not changing the color of the Mount Fuji or anything. So just to remind, let's just remind how hypocritical these people are. They claimed that this, what we see here, was the same as this completely different color, different shaped, and this they resized it before they even put it on here. And it doesn't even go off the screen here either. So they're just saying that somehow somebody decided to cut off and make this image. They say this is a perfect match. But now they're saying this, whereas literally a perfect match, is not good enough. And he's saying that, oh, it's been edited. Guys, this definitely doesn't match. Like, the whole argument was that it would be easy to edit it, and it's not actually easy to edit it. It's easy to edit, I guess, if you're looking at it side by side. That's like saying I can make an apple into an orange or an apple into a banana. Sure, if I look at it side by side and change it, I can make an apple into a banana. Now try to do it without the banana. Okay, now take your apple and turn it into a banana without knowing what the banana looks like. Not exactly the same. That's not even required on the Fuji one. The Fuji one's just straight up exact match. He stretched it and blended it, guys. These guys are the biggest hypocrites on the face of the earth. This honestly proves how dishonest the debunkers are. I can't take them seriously. I can't take them seriously. They're too busy editing Wikipedia. This just completely blows their nonsense out of the water. He's creating false and misleading information, guys. You mean like taking a non-matching VFX and claiming that it matches on one frame, even though it doesn't even match on a single frame? And if you look at the whole thing, it doesn't even match at all. It's not even close. Misleading like that? Misleading like saying, oh, one frame is similar, therefore we're going to throw out your whole 2 videos? You mean like what you did? Oh my God, too funny, man. I can't get enough of this, the meltdowns that they're having. And I think anyone who's going to reply in here, the only reply should be like, you know, stuff like cope or like it's over or give it up. Everyone should just reply, give it up to this guy, right? Just give them back exactly what they would do to other people. Give it up, man, it's over. Where in Texas? If you and your buddies are watching, give it up. It's over. You lost, bud. It's over. Move on to the next debunk. Oh my God, too funny. AF went bonkers over this rebunk in his stream last night. He keeps repeating that repeating the false notion that if you're using stock effects and you wouldn't manipulate it, just use it as it is. So, like what this guy's doing right now. These guys have no shame whatsoever. Like no sense of irony whatsoever. Like they just don't even realize that they're doing the literal thing. When you put an effect on an asset, of course you have to tweak it a little. He's arguing against the guy. Tweak it a little? Tweak it a little, man. It's not even close. It's not even close, man. Tweak it a little? What are you talking about? Even on the one frame. I just want somebody to try to do it without comparing it to the background that you see here that's black. Without comparing it. I want you to blindly try to modify this until it exactly matches the background. Stream it. That's the challenge. Stream it. Any of you debunkers out there, stream it. Not record it ahead of time and say I only spent 5 hours on this. I'm a Redditor. I only spent 5 hours. We know you're bullshitting, man. Just stream it live so we can watch like I'm doing, right? You claim you're an expert. You claim it'd be easy to modify this. Go for it. And while you're doing that, I want you to then admit that you were wrong about the Jonas picture because we don't even have to spend any time doing that. It's an exact match. Just overlay it. It's exactly. We don't have to change it and we don't have to change around little dots and stuff. Like, it's just an exact match. Too funny, man. Oh, and good point. Where is that hoaxer? The mythical hoaxer has not come out of the woodwork yet still, guys. Man, it's amazing. They can't find the hoaxer, right? You would think that these debunkers would be trying to collect that 150 grand, try to find that hoaxer, right? Nope. They're not worried about that. Let's see. Was there any other? I didn't even notice that comment there before. Bro, it's over. There it is. There's the comment. Bro, it's over, bro. Where in Texas? It's over, man. What are these other downvoted ones? You're lost. Dude, I love... It's too funny, man. When the debunkers get it back at them, it's just... Whew. Of course, not a single one of them was sharing that, right? They're not posting that on Twitter. They weren't posting the they're not posting this on Twitter and sharing it amongst all their debunker cultists of Mick West. Nope. Are they? Is Mick West coming out and apologizing for being wrong? Is he looking at the more evidence that he wanted? Of course he's not. Of course he's not. Now they're just completely being as big as hypocrites as they can. Planes, here we go, guys. Planes do take common routes and altitudes between airports. Photos of Mount Fuji are common. Oh, guys, now look what we got. You mean like how blast waves are common?
Blast waves are commonly found.
You mean how like Taylor set off blast waves are common? About how we can get the edge of the thing to match any number of things? Remember when they ignored this too? Could these people be any bigger hypocrites? Guys, pictures on airplanes from the exact angle with the exact light, with the exact shadows are common, guys. It's common. But this, when we have blast waves where we can literally overlay it with like 3 different effects and make it perfectly match, then that's not, of course, not common. It's too close. How many times did they say to us, it's too close, it has to be a perfect match, even though it doesn't match? Too funny, man. Too funny. Dispersion patterns are different, but cloud pictures from an airplane at a specific altitude at a specific time of the day, those are totally common. Totally common, folks. Look at this. They're just having a total meltdown. Guys, the debunkers proved my point. They're complete and total hypocrites. They're not trying to solve anything. They have serious issues in terms of these videos being real that they can't deal with. They don't hold themselves to the same standard at all. When the roles are exactly flipped, they completely change their arguments. Completely change their arguments once the roles get flipped. Hilarious, man. The best part is I didn't even come up with this debunk of this Mount Fuji thing. I didn't even come up with it. I didn't even care. I was already fine with the debunkers moving on, which of course they didn't move on. But now we understand why they didn't move on, right? Now we understand why they didn't move on. And this one's Punjabi Batman. He's saying that they morphed a snowdrift into a cloud here, which actually looks pretty weird. It does look like you might have morphed a snowdrift into a cloud. Anyway, I don't even care what goes on with this. I'm just enjoying the ride on this one. I'm just enjoying the ride. Too funny, guys. Oh, man, look how mad Chip Messiah is. He's so mad, dude. They're so mad. Oh, my God. I'm definitely not laughing at the plane and the victims, guys. That's not who I'm laughing at right now. The bunkers. Poor debunkers. Total meltdown. They're having a total meltdown. It's funny because if the roles were reversed, of course, this Mount Fuji picture would, of course, debunk the images that, of course, can't be in our videos because it's a 2D image, and we've already proven the clouds are moving, and we've proven the clouds are evolving, and we require a 3D rendered environment to get 2 angles from 2 different videos. So there's no way it could be 2D picture anyway, so I didn't care anyway. Oh, my God. Back to the drawing board, debunkers. Go fabricate a new debunk. I can't wait for the next one. I can't wait for them to pull out the, they're going to like airbrush out. I can already see what's going to happen next. The same guy that pretended like he remade the videos where he just did like a screen recording and copied it. He's going to airbrush out the plane or something, or airbrush out the orbs. And then he's going to say that he's going to claim to be the hoaxer. I can already feel the next fake debunk coming, guys. I feel it coming. He's gonna be like, I didn't want to collect 150,000 in the last 3 months. I just wanted to wait for 3 months to collect it. Or what? Better yet, it'll be like a 3-day-old Reddit account. They'll be claiming it, right? I decided to make a new account to get on Reddit to claim the 150,000, and of course it'll be through Reddit, right? It's gonna be a brand new account coming out of nowhere. They're going to have some elaborate fake story. They're going to have airbrushed out like the orbs or something like that. And they're going to go, they're going to ask for Kim.com for the thing. It's going to be great. I'm here for it, guys. I'm just riding this wave no matter what, no matter where this leads us at this point. Okay. Debunkers can airbrush out my orbs. Dorian, I love you, bud. Hilarious. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't even know. This has just been such a wild ride. I did not expect for some people to find the exact picture on Flickr. And Flickr's a much bigger website than textures.com, you know, in terms of, you know, it makes sense to find something on Flickr. On some textures.com website and only find, and then somehow figure out that it was, those pictures were supposedly there on the old website that didn't even exist. The whole story makes no sense. At least Flickr.com, it's like, okay, well, you're checking a big website and finding it. And the difference too is like, how long did it take? It took us, or took them. I mean, I'll be honest, I was not part of finding these images in any way, shape, or form. Like I said, I didn't care. Over 6 weeks. 6 weeks to find the matching images. But somehow some guy found matching images in 20 minutes looking at a website with thousands and tens of thousands of pictures on it. Where the clouds had to be resized, reshaped. Some random 6-day-old Reddit account just uses his super Rain Man abilities to find the clouds that had to be inverted and resized and stretched out. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, pretty funny. Let's see, was there anything else? Oh, so this is Tony Adams, by the way, guys. So Ada Adams or whatever, at Adams. This is the Tony Adams guy on Twitter. So anything this guy says is bullshit. No matter what this guy posts, it's bullshit. 100% bullshit. He's already outed himself. Just to be 100% clear, I took screenshots to make sure that he wouldn't be able to delete it or anything like that. Nothing this Tony Adams loser post has any credibility whatsoever. Nothing at all. This guy's a complete fraud and a liar. Calling it to his face, Tony Adams, you're out there, you're a fraud, and you're a liar, and you made a fake debunk. Nothing you say has any credibility. Go back to whatever, tweeting about football stuff or whatever it is. Here it is. 80% of my time was trying to match the original. So I tracked the cursor in the original and used an After Effects function to adjust the coordinates. If I was doing it from scratch, I'd use a screen recording app to track the mouse movement and function it. That's not how you recreate it, man. It's not how you recreate something. That's how you copy something. That's how, like, I could take a screenshot of the Mona Lisa and then post it. That doesn't mean I made the Mona Lisa. It doesn't mean the Mona Lisa's fake. Jesus. Oh, man. No wonder they can't, like, do any credible recreations, right? And, of course, that's pinned. The debunker mods pinned that to the subreddit. They pinned that to the subreddit. Why haven't they pinned that these satellite images have been, these cloud images have been debunked? Why didn't they pin that? That's surprising. They were so quick to pin this. They pinned this within like an hour. They pinned this. These cloud images have been debunked for over a day already. Still hasn't been pinned yet. Almost as if the moderators of this subreddit aren't really neutral at all. Aren't really trying to solve it at all. Almost as if they're just trying to debunk the videos. Okay. So we're good on that, right? Okay, guys. I think we're good with the Reddit stuff. That was fun. Oh, yeah, no, they have been banning people. They banned, I think they banned this no fakery guy. I think he's WS something, Wall Street something on Twitter. They already banned one of his accounts because he found this stuff. Like, they've already been trying to ban him and trying to delete his stuff, too. It's hilarious, dude. Hilarious. Yeah, Zalix, we're going to talk about that. I've already addressed it. You can find my old posts. You can watch my old stream, but we're going to address it again. We're going to go to the letter to Ashton. Is that what's next on the agenda? Oh, guys, Pal World. Pal World. I gotta finish this up, guys. I got some Pal World to go play. Guys. Okay. Next. The Reddit drama was, whew, that was spicy. I like that, guys. I can't wait for what comes next. It's so entertaining. This is why I like Keemstar, because I like the drama too. The drama is just entertaining. No one can deny that the drama is entertaining, guys. You can't deny it. How am I at the center of this amazing case out there? I don't know how. I'm so lucky to be at the center of this amazing case. Give me a second. I need to get some water. Definitely, this is easily the most dramatic conspiracy of all time, right? Like, this is hilarious how dramatic this conspiracy is. Guys, I'm gonna catch the fake Pikachus. This game, just for the record, if anyone needs me to go on the record in like a court of law, this game is definitely a ripoff of Pokemon, like 100%. I played enough Pokemon to tell what a Pokemon ripoff looks like. This is like straight up total ripoff. Oh, we're having a good time tonight, chat. Okay, so if our counterparts, the Luanons, guys, the Luanons, where are they? Let's get them some attention, guys. Let's not let them be left out tonight, okay? We're having a good time. I don't want them to be left out. Guys, I want you to spam, what's his name? UAP Mike? Guys, the Luanon, the Lu crew. We call them the Luanons, right? Like a QAnon, but a Luanon, because they're just like obsessed with their cult hero, right? Like to a weird degree. Like I respect Tim Burchett, right? And Anna Paulina Luna, but I'm never gonna call myself like the Burchett crew or the Burchett Hit Squad or some lame name like that. Like you don't hold people up as like their cult leader, right? And I would never want anyone to do that to me too. If people were like, if I was Lou Elizondo and I had this crew of weirdos like obsessing over me, I'd tell them to stop. I'd be like, yo, chill. Just chill out. You're being like too culty. I don't want that, right? So anyway, no offense to UAP Mike. Yo, we just want to be friends. This is a message from Keemstar. Keemstar told me to relay this to UAP Mike. We just want to be friends, man. We just want to be friends. So we're throwing down the gauntlet. We're throwing down the gauntlet. We want to do a 5-on-5 Family Feud style debate. The winner takes UFO Twitter. No, I'm just kidding. No, but how entertaining would a 5-on-5 with the Lu crew? And then on our side, we have Red Panda Koala, Tupacabra, Chris, the debunker, Keemstar, and myself. Ooh, that's our 5 right there. Those are our 5 champions, guys. We got Tupacabra, Red Panda, Chris, Keemstar, Ashton. Luanons, pick your 5 champions. Pick your 5 champions, Luanon. You've been called out. You've been called out, Luanons. Winner takes the internet, folks. Winner takes control of UFO Twitter. On Spaces, we're going to do a space. We can do a space. We'd have like hundreds of people listening. We'll pick some topics. We'll talk about the jellyfish. And then we'll go back and forth and we'll decide, is it real? What does it mean, right? Maybe even MH370 videos will be one of the topics. Ooh. Can you imagine me versus King Milkfart? Or me versus, I don't know who else is in their guy's crew. I don't know, non-credible UFO reports, I think is one of them or whatever. Guy who smoked too many blunts and forgot where he was. Can you imagine him versus me in the MH370 video debate? Oof. Sounds good, guys. Guys, everybody would be watching. UAP Mike, don't back down, man. Don't back down. We're calling you out. We're calling you guys out, Lu crew. Luanons, do not wuss out. Skyfire News versus Lu crew. Let's make it happen. Okay. That's enough for that. So make sure they get that message, guys. I know there's some of them out there probably. Make sure they get it. Make sure they get it. Okay. We're having a good time tonight, folks. We're having a good time. I am having too much fun tonight, guys. The Reddit stuff has me just cracking up. Okay, so somebody got mad and left because I wasn't addressing the part where the creepy stories part. Okay, so let's let's address the creepy stories. Where's the creepy stories? Guys, I have to watch some. I got to get my advanced tips for Pal World. I got to watch my advanced tips for Pal World, guys. Man, 24,000 views. Guys, I'm in the wrong topic here, man. Pal World's getting 24,000 views. MH370 is only getting like a few thousand. Damn, guys, I might have to switch over to Pal World streamer. Jeez. Okay. Real world creepy it is. Oh yeah, I've stopped using Reddit, folks. I'm way ahead of you on that one. I make like one post every 6 months now. Okay. In the whistleblower letter to Ashton Forbes, and let me pull up the notes. Okay, where are they? Where are they? I swear I pulled the notes up. I swear I pulled the notes up, guys. Is it this one? Okay. I had the notes. No, that's shit. That's the Adam and Eve stuff. What the hell? Where'd it go? God damn it. I don't know where it went. Hold on, guys. Hold on. I'm bringing it back up. Okay. Okay. So in this letter to Ashton Forbes, they talk about following the gray bearded man, and they're talking about people in the chat were able to figure it out really quickly. It's a guy named Randall Carlson. I had no idea who he was. People were like, how would you not know who Randall Carlson was? Like, dude, are you being serious, man? Like, am I supposed to know every single person who's doing sacred geometry and plasmoid research and all these other, like, really niche topics? Of course not, man. I didn't know who Bob Greenyer was either before this stuff. I didn't know who anyone was in the UFO community as well, except for, like, you know, some of the big name people, but I didn't know any of this drama or anything like that. Who's Rachel Maddow? I do know who Rachel Maddow is. So we followed that, and that led us to Malcolm Bendall, who turns out that he was hanging out with Bob Greenyer. And Malcolm Bendall has been in the Maldives for like 7 years doing his own research on his own, which people say that he's got, I don't know, they say all the same bullshit they say about everybody, scammer, grifter, or whatever. Like, seems pretty committed if he just went out to the Maldives to go do his experiments by himself, right? That's some like Island of Dr. Monroe stuff, right? Yeah, thunderstorm generator. Guys, I've looked into the thunderstorm generator as well. You guys are, you know, I'm not trying to be rude, but you're a little behind the curve on this one. I've already looked into all this stuff, right? And so, yes, I think that the plasma research stuff is very interesting, right? I think it's very interesting. I now see why Bob Greenyer in our one-on-one in our Hard Truths podcast was talking about how he thinks that the orbs are just energy, right? He's thinking about the thunderstorm generator. He's thinking about the ball of plasma. Now, the reality is that I don't necessarily agree there. I don't agree. I think that there's got to be an object inside there. That's just me, though. I don't care about the Freemason stuff, man. I don't know. It's weird, guys. All the Freemason and somebody's whatever. I just listen to people's ideas, man. I don't care who they're affiliated with or what people say about them, right? Like, I'm not interested in any of that stuff, okay? All I'm interested in is what they're saying, what they're talking about. So, yes, I'm familiar with that part. Do I have to follow up on that again, guys? Like, I think I've addressed it. Now, yes, it's compelling. Yes, it's very interesting. Yes, I do think that the plasma research might be the answer for some of the technology related to the orbs. 100%. I do. The reality is I'm not there scientifically yet. I'm working my way up, guys. I'm working my way up, okay? So relax. Also, people got to relax about telling me to watch stuff and whatever. Like, you can send me stuff, send me clips, but, like, I'm on cosmic time. I'm pulling a Jeremy Corbell. I'm on cosmic time, guys. I'm taking it pace by pace. This is not a race. We're not trying to sprint to the finish here. We're going to slowly understand it. I'm going to do so at a level that I'm comfortable with, okay? Tomorrow will be the science stream, guys. Tomorrow we're doing a science stream, okay? So if you want me to watch videos and stuff tomorrow related to science, that's going to be tomorrow. Come check out the stream tomorrow night, and we will do the science stream tomorrow, okay? It's Alex. You're good, Alex. But tomorrow we'll do the science stream, folks. And don't even joke about that, man. That actually really happened to me once already, and I don't think it was a joke. If you just, this is a little bit somber note. I plan on making a post probably tomorrow morning, by the way, guys, where like self-harm is not funny, man. There's a lot of people out there that are struggling with mental health, just to be serious for a second. And the reality of what we're disclosing as well is that we are disclosing that we live in a simulation. We're disclosing that. I mean, if you look at the double slit experiment, that's the logical conclusion, is that we live in some type of matrix, which means that you could say that our lives are an analogy to a video game, that it is a holographic principle in theory. That does not mean that your life does not matter. Look at it this way. This universe and reality that we live in, that we share together, is a gift, right? This is... You only get one chance at it. Make the best of every single day, man. Appreciate every single day that you have on this planet. It does not make life any less worth living. It does not diminish the sanctity of life in any way. If anything, knowing that the universe is a simulation, I actually respect life even more. And not just human life, but all life, animals, etc. Now, I still like steak, but I would feel really bad if I had to hurt a cow. So, okay. So I probably will make a post about that, because the reality is I did get a letter where somebody was potentially committed self-harm, and I never heard from them again after that. And that's the last thing I want to have happen to people. And that's the last thing I want revealing this information to lead to anybody to do. So let's just remember for a second here that there are other people out there, normal people, that do suffer from that type of stuff. And if anybody's ever feeling down, I want to be the type of person that will lift them back up. That's the type of person I want to be, right? And sorry if I was smiling there. I was thinking about the debunkers and whether or not that applies to them. But yes, debunkers, that applies to you too. I don't want you guys to... I don't want anyone to harm themselves. Nobody, okay? Okay. Yeah, this community is awesome too. This is a pretty sweet community. So, yeah. Let's skip this ad. I just happened to catch it right before it was going to drop. Okay. Now, letter to Ashton Forbes here. If you want to take a look at it, you can take a look at it here. Now, let's think about how we break this down, okay? I'm going to do so from memory, from looking at this. So I think the way to break this down is to break it into chunks. And I don't know if I'm going to have time to do this between now and tomorrow, but we can get a start at it. But I want to break it down potentially into individual posts that I post throughout the day on one day. And I'm hoping I can break it down into 3 or 4 posts. The thing is super long. In fact, what I'll do is I'm going to pull up the transcript, I think, instead of playing the video. Or should we just play the video again? Let's just play the video again. Let's play the video, and let's compare it to the notes that we have. I'm going to mute myself and finish eating my soup while we listen. And we'll pause it here and there, okay? Yeah, we can turn the debunkers towards the light, guys. We can turn them towards the light. Oh, no wonder. Okay, well... I realized, okay, no wonder. I never noticed something, but that's fine. Okay, here we go.
This is a submission sent to us.
Can you guys hear it okay?
January of 2024.
I'm gonna turn it up.
It's a letter to an Ashton.
Let's start it over.
This is...
Let's turn it up. Turn it up. Soup noises. I muted myself too quick. Too quick. Here we go. Let's do it. Yeah, okay, quick. Let's do a quick introduction to this letter, okay? So for the background, for people who are brand new here, this letter appeared January 9th. I was informed about it January 10th on Twitter. Somebody, I think it was in, yeah, we found out who. It was somebody in the MH370x community tagged me. So I found out about it the next day. I looked into it. Turned out this Twitter account or this YouTube account had been created on January 7th. and there was like 3 videos about the Miami aliens, and then this video, or 2 videos about the Miami aliens. I'm not sure how many. And I started listening to it, and right away I was kind of creeped out because I could tell it was AI voice, but like it was a really, really good one. You guys are going to hear it yourself here. Really, really good one. And I've listened to this at least 30 times now. I listen to it probably once a day still, maybe not quite, but somewhere like that. And it was the part that bugs me out is how there's so many details that seem like they're unique, that somebody had to invent. But not just invent them out of whole cloth, but like invent them and they align with the case that we've been presenting, right? And somebody just, a few people were like, oh, this is easy to fake or whatever. Somebody actually put another video out there where they used AI to create the script. And you can tell within like 10 seconds they used AI to create the script. And the AI voice they use is also really bad. So like I couldn't even finish that one. So compare this where I've listened to it like 30 times, because if this was like in a movie, I would watch it in a movie. That's how good this is. Compared to this random AI voice that's out there. Like I still don't even know how they created this. Like that's how wild this is. Here we go. Let's get going.
This is a submission sent to us the 8th of January of 2024. It's a letter to an Ashton Forbes telling a new story of what happened to Malaysian Airlines MH370 that disappeared back in 2014. And as always, don't trust what you read on the news. Trust your own capability to see the world for what it really is. Here we go.
I work or have worked at a military base in the Maldives, and I know exactly what happened to Malaysian Airlines MH370. This is also a letter to Ashton Forbes. You are not wrong, and what you do are much bigger than you even can imagine. Don't stop what you are doing. I won't tell anything about myself more than that I currently or in the past has spent time at a military base in the Maldives. That I have done this type of work since I joined the military when I was young, and that was many decades ago. Still in the game, but the years are starting to get to me. I write this because I want the world to know that most of the trouble on Earth are created for political reasons. United States, or at least a covert administrative elite of the U.S., has, at will, complete control, and this has been true since the 60s. Flight MH370 arrived at our base, by our hand, at 1856 UTC after we picked it up, mid-air, outside the island of Great Nicobar. Just one of many, many things we do. We can pick up anything, anywhere, and deliver it in an instant, like a magic FedEx. Some facts about why it happened. MH370 had defectors on board. They were running to China with American technology. They are Chinese by blood and had gotten themselves into a situation with the Chinese regime who got them to choose to defect. The whole play, everything, and I mean everything about it, was a political play to show the Chinese who's their daddy. That's us. Some facts about how it happened. All passengers are dead, all but the handful of deflectors. The plane did not crash. The plane was on fire, we know because we started it. The plane was picked up by us, on fire, mid-air, right in front of the Chinese. The Chinese regime knows exactly what happened, and that was the whole point of the operation. Okay, this is what I want to share with you. As I said, I have been doing this for a long time. I know the technology and have been a part of hundreds of operations. So let's start with the tech. The foundation is not superconductivity. Superconductivity is a product of the technology. We have had this since the 1960s, and from that first day we have used it to make sure that no one else can have it. The big breakthrough to apply the tech as we do today came in the beginning of the 2000s with quantum computers, and by this, the paradigm for AI technology. What we had to do programmatically before, we now can do with something akin to machine quantum computer. Breakthrough to apply the tech as we do today came in the beginning of the 2000s with quantum computers, and by this, the paradigm for AI technology. What we had to do programmatically before, we now can do with something akin to machine intuition. This lets us operate in fast-moving environments where event-based logic in linear programming was very limited. As I said, what you have found is not the technology itself, it's just one of many derivatives of the technology. I encourage you to keep on with what you are doing, but you should also be aware that there is a deeper layer that you could focus on instead of the Miami aliens that I see you have been posting about. I will give you some pointers for this at the end of this letter.
When he calls me
the
out.
Products or...
Okay, so real quick, we're almost halfway through. We've already gotten a lot of crazy stuff. He doesn't say teleportation. Okay. I mean, this sounds pretty legit, man. Sounds pretty damn legit. It's pretty elaborate, man. If somebody's faking this, can you just come out and tell us how you came up with this, please? It's pretty creepy. Okay, so first one I think is don't stop is probably what we're going to call it. I'm probably just going to call it don't stop. Because they tell me not to stop what I'm doing. Now this is right away pretty much rules out the debunkers, right? Debunkers are never going to send me a letter that says don't stop what you're doing. They're never going to do that, right? They're giving away their intentions right away. Yeah, we'll get to that part, Alex, but you're 100% correct on your comments there in the chat. Most of the trouble on Earth are created for political reasons. So the other thing that I've noticed after listening to it for like 30 times, this is somebody who is from Asia. I'm almost sure they're from Asia. The person who sent the letter, at least, because they mix up are and is several times. They don't use the in front of the United States in one of the sentences. There's like 5 or 6 instances where you can catch them using the wrong word for possess. Is it possessive? Are versus is, has versus have, stuff like that, right? No, I'm not going to search for hidden messages. So they say most of the trouble on Earth are created for political reasons, which that's a pretty interesting thing too, right? If they're talking about, this is like the idea that everything that happens is bad is happening for political reasons, and like the rest of the world just doesn't even know about it. So they're already setting us up here in this very first paragraph, in the first sentence, for what they're going to drop on us later, that the United States crafted the whole scenario with MH370. Then they say the United States has complete control since the 60s. This is also very specific, and it sets them up later on for when they talk about the technology, right? It coincides with what they mentioned. Basically, they're saying up here that since we uncovered this technology in the 60s, which is 20 years after we dropped the bomb, then we've basically had complete control. Pretty scary as well. Now, it makes me wonder about the Cuban Missile Crisis. Were we really afraid of that? Not sure. Then they drop something completely original. They say that they arrived at their base at 1856 UTC. Now, the problem here is they're not specific to claim that they're at Diego Garcia when this happens. We don't know if this time they're talking about Diego Garcia or if they're talking about some other location, right? There's no way to know for sure. I've listened to it a million times. The reason why this is important is because our time frame thinks that they arrived at Diego Garcia in the early morning, enough time where it flew past the islanders who see it at like 6 in the morning. So this time would have to be meaning that it would land first. They would put out the fire, make sure everyone's legit, and then they would fly the plane to Diego Garcia. This might even mean that the passengers did not land and go to Diego Garcia. They made it to Diego Garcia later on. And then they say they picked it up outside of the island of Great Nicobar. So this is now indicating our coordinates, right? And the weird part about this is that we never mentioned Great Nicobar. We've never mentioned Great Nicobar, not one time. I didn't even know that's what the island was called. I thought Car Nicobar I'd been mentioning several times. Nobody's ever mentioned Great Nicobar. And then they talk about the part about picking it up like a magic FedEx. Now, this is the part where they are talking about teleportation, right? Because FedEx, of course, if you know the history of FedEx, I think that FedEx, the person that started FedEx, actually got like a C on their entrepreneurship paper or their business paper when they promoted FedEx. There's like the story about that. I'm not sure if you guys know about that. And the idea is that they were going to try to beat the Postal Service. And people thought, oh, no, that's stupid. No one's going to ever pay that much money to send a letter when you can just put a stamp on it. They were wrong. Okay, next paragraph. Then the next one's the defectors, right? So they were Chinese by blood. Now, the Freescale semiconductor scientists, we know there was 8 of them that were Chinese. They never mentioned that in here. Now he breaks out that it was a political play to show the Chinese who their daddy is, referencing back to the earlier part. Then he makes the big claim that all the passengers are dead except for the handful of defectors. Now, this is interesting because I've been out here saying that the passengers are probably alive. I've been saying that they probably lived somehow. Now, this might be an inconsistency because this basically also tells us that this person, whoever made this story up or whatever, thinks that they survived the teleportation event. Because there's only, in my mind, you can't protect just the defectors. Like, unless the defectors are all sitting in the same spot on the plane, or potentially unless, like, let's say the Iranians are part of this plan, they would have to group the defectors together and surround them in some kind of shield or something like that, right? I just don't see all that happen. Too complicated for me. So to me, what they're saying here is that the whole plane makes it, and then they take care of everybody else. As Dave from the Alien Addict podcast says, they give them the special pancakes, right? Eat the special pancake, and then you go to sleep. And then you don't ever wake up. Pretty scary stuff. And then not only do they say that the plane was on fire, confirming our theory, which we're the only people that proposed this theory. Now, other people have talked about the fire. We've seen that out there, but very rarely, and nobody has that. None of the major investigators have been going with the fire theory, just us. But it adds the part about we started it. We started the fire. On the podcast that I've gone on to, whenever people would ask me, I'd say, it doesn't make sense that we would start the fire because we could just teleport the plane from the South China Sea. But maybe not. Maybe that's too close to China. Maybe they really did have to fly it and divert it towards the where the assets are, where the Cope Tiger exercises are going on. That's the part where it's like, wow, this is bringing in something that I would have thought was very low likelihood, and now establishing a full story for why it's more probable. This is where, Leonardo DiCaprio. At first you had my, what is it? Attention. What's the one? God dang it. I butchered it. First you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention. Like that's what it feels like right there. And then they say, not just that though. Now they straight up say the Chinese knew and the Chinese saw it happen, that we did it right in front of them. And that's wild because I had been proposing that the reason why you would teleport a plane is to hide the plane. But they're going, nah, we just did it just to show them how powerful we are. And just for them to watch their plan burn up, right? Holy crap, that's dark, man. But it also is consistent with all the stuff they've said beforehand. We have complete control. All this is being done for political reasons. It's hard for me to believe. It's really hard for me to believe because I don't like to think of the evil in the world, but I think the people that are conspiracy theory-minded people have no problem believing this. I'm probably one of the people that has a harder time believing this. And then, of course, this brings up in what we're going to get to in a minute, which is the satellite images, right? Satellite images. And it brings on that Russian thing as well with the shipment. That's wild. I think there is a likelihood there could be, or Chip, look at it this way. What if those were the batteries that were set up to go off at a very specific time? And what if those were the batteries that were set to have a specific burn rate on them? And that's why they had to have those batteries get on board the plane. Because otherwise they wouldn't be able to be assured that the batteries were going to explode and that they wouldn't destroy the plane. That's what bugs me out the most. Because a lot of people in the fire scenario go, no, the fire would have engulfed the plane. But not if the batteries had a very specific load and were set to directly cause a minor event. No, I've never done DMT. I've never done any hard drugs in my entire life. Okay. The tech. Foundation is not superconductivity. Superconductivity is a product of the technology. Now, the reason why this was wild was because I had been speculating this, thinking about this, but never mentioned it directly like this. The way that I would propose it on my podcast is that superconductivity is what enables everything. But in my mind, I'm going, no, like the coherent matter wave beam creates superconductivity. And this is where like Dave Rossi, Bob Grenier, and to a lesser degree Salvatore Pais were trying to correct me and say, like, every time I'd ask them about superconductivity, they'd be a little bit standoffish about it, right? So this part is wild because it's what I was thinking, and then they're basically just saying, yeah, no, this is how it is. Now, this is a really specific thing to throw in here. Because what if you're wrong about this, right? Like, you have to have some science background to make this statement. I had never made this statement, never claimed this. This is somebody that I think is knowledgeable enough with the science that knows that, no, it's not a matter of superconductivity just allowing us to teleport. It's that you allow the superconductivity to be the key using the technology. Like, you create the superconductivity. And this is what's consistent with what Salvatore Pais said, right? Salvatore Pais told us we don't need metamaterials. We can induce superconductivity. Dave Rossi told us that it doesn't matter what the material of the plane is, we can induce superconductivity around it. That's what they're saying right here. How could they know that unless they're following the case and they have as good of a grasp of science as at least better than me? Okay. Then again, they reaffirmed that they had it since the 60s and made sure that nobody else could have it. This is spooky. This is really spooky. Who's making this claim? Like, is now the person also like has to be like a UFOologist? Because like one of the things that I asked some people, I don't know if I've asked it on stream, but I've asked like, how long do you think they've had this tech? And people say, well, decades. But like, how far back, right? And then the part about quantum computers is also wild because quantum computers were technically, I think, the breakthrough started happening in the early 2000s. It makes sense that the military would have them decades before we do. And now they're saying, I still don't even understand this. I still don't even understand the quantum computer part, where they say that machine intuition allows them to operate in fast-moving environments where event-based programming was limited. This reminds me of the Sentient program. The one that's monitoring the satellites, where people say, oh, it's predicting the future. That's exactly what I think of when I think of this machine intuition part. How do they know so much stuff? This is not something that an AI is going to prompt this out, right? You've got to actually have the background to get this, to develop this story. And then lastly, they say what we are talking about, the teleportation, is one derivative of the technology. One derivative of the technology. This is not a replay. We're live right now, David. Welcome to the chat. And so that's the part that's interesting as well, because, I mean, I think they could deduce that. I've mentioned that many times, is that we could create force fields with this. We could, might even be able to have advanced medical healing capabilities with this. We could have cloaking with this. We could have annihilation with this. We could create doomsday weapons, fusion power, over Unity devices, free energy is all possible with this. So this is also consistent with what we've been disclosing. So some of this is brand new stuff that they're bringing out, but some of it's what we've been disclosing. Let's keep going.
Application you are now working on is correctly based on superconductivity. The number of orbs you've been speculating about is correct. The fourth orb decides where the object ends up. The technology is based on structures, simple and beautiful structures that lets us use the unlimited power that is everywhere and step outside what I would like to describe as perceived reality. The structure that is used for what you are looking at is a metastructure that creates a low complexity and relative low energy phase transition. The beauty of this technology lies in its elegance and simplicity. The structures are inherently stable and self-regulating, and the earlier challenges to conduct operations were 100% based on the limits of man. With the same technology, just a slightly altered monostructure gives us an infinite power generator that without maintenance can run forever. Combine structures to a meta-product again, and you have the propulsion for a transmedium object moving faster than light. It's the definition of magic. There are endless applications, and the truth is that it would change the world in an instant. But that won't happen. I bet yourself, or at least most of your audience, have heard a version of the story that the aliens are here and they want to bless us with new, clean, and revolutionary technology, but we are a too young and rowdy civilization and would not be able to be responsible enough with the gifts from them. That's probably made up, but that is at the same time completely true. It's just not aliens saying this. It's us again. The technology is infinite in its power, and if two rivaling parties had access to it, this world wouldn't last a day. The same technology, with a combination of monostructures, makes a terrifying weapon that turns any matter into dust, and that dust turns into air. It does not matter if the object is a small bird or an aircraft carrier. It cannot be stopped. It does not miss. And when the object has been hit, the phasing cannot be stopped. Okay, so back to MH370. We knew about the deflectors as soon as they made their decision. Well before that, but then they weren't deflectors. Anyway, we knew when, how, and why back in December, and as we do, we made it into politics. We let them go. We took them back and sent the Chinese a clear message of who is in control. And we did this with a brilliantly produced show that is fit for a Hollywood production. Any good movie has fire, desperation, regret, and drama. And every movie villain should see their plan fall apart. And in really good movies, just when the villain has accepted that the plan has failed, the heroes of the movie steps in and makes it worse. This is what happened. As soon as we knew what plane was the last leg of their journey, we planned and delivered, so the plane was loaded up with lithium-ion batteries, built by us for this occasion. Lithium-ion batteries cannot be put out, has a predictable burn rate, and we made sure that the volume was just right for a long burn that would allow for a full-length show. The Chinese were following the plane since it was on the tarmac and got to see their most close-to-success operation go up in flames. And just as all hope was lost, we made it worse. Right in front of their eyes, 2 hours and 13 minutes in, they saw the plane get phased out of there by the same technology they were trying to get access to. And 5 days later, the Chinese officially made a gesture of submissiveness by publishing a frame from the satellite of the phase moment via the State Administration for Science. The publishing was talked about in American newspapers as a possible debris field. But when you know what you are looking at, it's clear what the frame shows. The aftermath. During the 5 days after the show, the Chinese found out about the batteries, that we both made and placed them on the plane. They accepted that we have been playing with them the whole time and at the same time could accept that the people they had convinced to deflect did what they wanted. It was us that stopped them. The deflectors had a good corrective experience when it comes to staying loyal and were back on the job as usual, but with a new understanding both of their importance and the consequences of their actions. What was nothing more than another Friday at the office for the administrative elite, 200 people had the most confusing death experience you could imagine. 1,500 people lived a tragedy, losing family members in a mystery, and 10,000s spent months searching and millions speculating for years. Then in 2014, military footage of the event got published on YouTube. Not our problem. The person responsible for the leak was identified and taken care of. Not by us, not our problem. Then came you. Hi, Ashton. Impressive. This is what I want to leave you with. There was a guest on the Joe Rogan podcast that was talking about sacred geometry and...
Jesus, man. When he says hi, Ashton, shit creeps me out, man. That's not something an AI says. Like, that's just like... Okay. This thing is so wild. This thing is so wild. This letter is so nuts, man. I honestly hope this is the weirdest thing that ever happens to me in my life. Because It's just that weird, man. Yeah, when he says hi, Ashton, dude. It's like I'm watching you, right? Like, Jesus. Yeah, it makes it personal. I'm gonna listen to that part again.
Tragedy, losing family members in a mystery, and 10,000s, spent months searching and millions speculating for years. Then in 2014, military footage of the event got published on YouTube. Not our problem. The person responsible for the leak was identified and taken care of. Not by us, not our problem. Then came you. Hi, Ashton. Impressive. This is what I want to leave you with.
But so it's like, hi, Ashton, and then impressive. Like, that's just, oh, that's weird, man. My hair stands up on my arms when I hear that, dude. Even after hearing it 30 times, even after hearing it that often. Okay, so we're going to get to the last part. Let's just break down what we heard there, though, from the second part. The 4 orbs part. So then straight up says, we speculated correctly with the 4 orbs. Well, that's weird because Dave Rossi is the one who came up with the 4 orb thing. I would never have come up with that. He says there's 4 orbs. He says, I remember in our interview, he says it makes sense because of the geometry or something like that the 4th orb makes sense. Entanglement is the key there. Now, that part, yeah, the not our problem part, we're going to get to that creepy too. Now I know it's not Bob Grenier. Bob Grenier is adamant that you don't need a 4th orb. And we also know it's not anybody who follows Roy D. Herbert because Roy D. Herbert also says that we don't need the 4th orb. The tech is based on structures. Yes, like people put in the chat, it does make us think of metamaterials. It makes us think of sacred geometry. It makes us think of toroids that are out there. That's what the tech based on structures makes us think of. And then it talks about over unity, unlimited power everywhere. I was just talking about this yesterday with alien scientists in the chat. Also, hey, Bernie. Hey, Emily. Hey, Ocean. Hey, Nathaniel. Hey, Amanda. Hey, guys. And this was Dave Rossi as well, where he talks about opening up Pac-Man's mouth and creating a system where you're borrowing energy from the vacuum of space-time. That's how you create over unity. That's what free energy is. Like Jeremy said from Alien Scientists, there's really no such thing as free energy. But if you change your system and open your system up, now you can be borrowing the energy from the planet itself, from space-time itself. So that's what they're saying there with the unlimited power. The metastructure, this next part is very weird because I don't have any basis for this. The metastructure creates low complexity and low energy phase transition. This sounds like Jack Sarfati now. Now I'm sitting here thinking, like, is this some CIA thing? Because this is, I think Jack Sarfati is the one. When people are talking about low energy phase transitions, if you go read Jack Sarfati's stuff, which I don't generally recommend anybody do, but he's the one who's talking about doesn't take a lot of energy to cause this type of stuff, that it's about efficiency. And the low complexity part is basically saying, like, well, we just need the right toroids, right? Maybe a fractal toroid, and then that it doesn't take a huge amount of energy to pull this off. Now, everybody else is talking, even Salvatore Pais is talking about breaking the Schwinger limit, which I think means that it would be a high energy phase transition. But this person's saying, no, it's a low energy one. So now this is an interesting point, because if we can verify this one way or another, if this checks out, then it might show there to be some authenticity to this recording. Inherently stable structures and self-regulating. Now, this goes back to Bob Grenier. So it's almost like it's being information, like, the weird part is this is information that's pulled from different scientists that have contradictory viewpoints. So it's almost, this is the part also where it starts to become pretty credible, where it's like they're taking a little bit from everybody, a little bit of Dave Rossi, a little bit of Bob Grenier, a little bit of Jack Sarfati, a little bit of Salvatore Pais, right? And that's where I'm like, huh. Because I always like to think that usually the answer is somewhere in the middle, right? So inherently stable structure. This is where Bob Grenier would say, and he said on our podcast, the structure can stay out there for several days. This is the part where I'm surprised Bob Grenier wasn't a little more creeped out by this. He thought this was a big joke. I'm going, dude, who faked this, man? You got psychopaths who know this much science that would fake something like this? It's creepy. If so, that's even creepier than the videos being real. And then he talks about the infinite power generated. That's another callback to Bob Grenier, right? Bob Grenier on our interview, and I think also on the Alien Scientist podcast, talks about how with the right structure, you could just flow water through it and it's going to collect energy and just build up. Even in his presentations that I watched, which weren't even with me, he talks about that. That's how you get the infinite power, where just basically you have the right structure, you run electrons through it, and now it's going to accumulate and accumulate and accumulate and get higher and higher and stronger and stronger. And then this can be converted as well to propulsion that can lead to faster than light travel. He essentially says trans-medium craft that can achieve super high speeds. This is pretty much now he's doing it, talking about what we see in the MH370 videos, at least what we think. Stroking someone's ego? I mean, I'm not sure of anything, man. I'll tell you this. I'm not sure of anything. This would be a really, really weird way for someone to stroke their ego. They're saying a lot of stuff in here that's either verifiable or be able to be proven wrong. And we can't really prove any of it wrong. There's a couple things that like kind of are a little bit red flags, but not much. And then endless applications. I agree. There's pretty much endless applications on this. People ask me, what can we do with this? We can overclock our computers 1,000 times over. We can get medical healing potentially is one of the capabilities. Cloaking, force fields, all this stuff, right? Mag trains, hoverboards. Like superconductivity will change everything. And then the big part. This is the part where I've been heavily promoting this idea. Even today, I was posting, I replied to Chris Mellon and said, Chris Mellon, you know, man. Anyone who's in the know, anyone who's talking to Hal Puthoff and Eric W. Davis, they know this technology can lead to doomsday weapons, and they're just not mentioning it. Why are they not talking about that, right? And this is the answer right here. Because with two rivals that have this technology, we are not going to last a day. The world's going to be destroyed. And if terrorists were to get this, the world's going to be destroyed, right? This is just 100% true. Now, the weapon can turn matter into dust and dust into air. Now, this also kind of is a callback to Bob Greenier again, where Bob Greenier says we could be looking at annihilation where, you can't create or destroy energy, but you can transmute it. You can teleport it somewhere else. So this part I think this is like somebody who's like looking at it and describing what they would see visually, not necessarily trying to be as scientific on this part. Now, the next part too is interesting, which is something that maybe we could confirm, which is when the object is hit, the phasing cannot be stopped. Now, I don't know what that means. I still don't know what that means. I don't know if that means that once the orb starts spinning, there's no going back, or if this means that like once the phase transition begins, you can't undo it. I'm not sure. Now, Defectors Part 2 says, we knew in December that they were defecting. That's weird. That's a pretty bold claim, right? That we knew 3 months ahead of time what they were expecting. Richard, man, I need you to stop concern trolling, man. Otherwise, I'm going to give you a timeout. Let's just like I'm not trying to have people buy in that. When people are like, just for the record, guys, if you're out there and you're trying to convince me that it's fake or it's real, just don't do that. If you want to just enjoy the ride, enjoy the ride. I don't know what's going on. I've been clear about that. Nothing you can say is going to make me stop looking into it or whatever. We're just going to let this play out. Okay? I'm going to make my own determination on whether or not I think it's real or not real. I don't need like all the comments from the peanut gallery on what I should think. Okay, now, they say that they knew in December. Let them go and set up the plan. They basically say that this was basically like a movie. Now, this part's just like, okay, now you're starting to really stretch what you want me to believe here because you go to this elaborate movie analogy about fire, desperation, regret, drama, like a movie. Because now you think about this, in order for this to be real, there's got to be some sick psychopaths out there. Like in the CIA or whoever's coming up with these narratives, like, can we imagine like Ronald Pandolfi is out there going, okay, we know about the defectors, so now we're going to go and set up a fire scenario on them and like have this all blow up in their face. Like this is dark, man. This is super dark. But it almost feels like like a movie impression of what you think the government would do. But maybe they do stuff like this. That's the scary part. If the government's doing stuff like this that he talks about in this movie, I'm very afraid. I'm very afraid because that means they have a plan for me too, for sure. That's why I'm hoping the movie thing is like not real, because this is like where you're really stretching it, for me at least personally. And then they talk about the heroes coming in and stepping in and making it worse. Like, is this a reference to anything, guys? Has anyone ever heard this reference where, like, the villain has their scenario blow up on them and then the hero makes it worse? Because I know a lot about pop culture, but I've never heard anything like that, right? So it seems like this is something original that they created here, where they talk about when the villain's plan blows up, then the hero comes in and makes it worse. That's something that I can't quite get over. Like, is that, anybody know that comes from any movies or anything like that? Like, is that an actual reference to anything? Or is that just a completely created, made up, like, little thing? And then they throw in some more verifiable information. They knew it was the last leg of the journey. If we could somehow prove that all those people grouped up in KL and then flew off to Beijing, that would be pretty big, because I have no idea if that's true or not, but it's verifiable. Then they also claim that we built the payload for the batteries, for the long burn, for the full-length show, and that China tracked the plane the whole time. That part's easy to believe, the China tracking the plane. This could also explain why we forced the plane to burn and turn around, because South China Sea, the China is definitely tracking it there. So they're trying to get it to go away from China. And then we read the Russian thing, which somebody was mentioning earlier, the Russian intelligence report. The Russian intelligence report says that Russia was tracking it. They told China about it, and that China was planning on diverting the plane. Like, that's weird. So that's even lining up. And I never even knew about the thing about China diverting the plane. I remember reading that Russian intelligence report and just dismissing it, thinking it must be Russian disinformation. But now I'm going, what if that Russian intelligence report's real? What if it's not disinformation? Then it lines up entirely with this weird recording. And then here's another piece of unique verifiable information, although we can't really verify this, but they say that 2 hours and 13 minutes in, the plane gets phased out. Why are they giving us such a very specific time? This coincides with the Chinese only Mayday call, right? That they intercepted a Mayday call at 1843. Could that have been another spycraft thing where China reports the Mayday call and they report it at 2:43 because they know that's the moment when the plane disappeared? Ooh, that's spicy. That's really spicy. Maybe, like, God dang, China's actions after this are so bizarre. It actually does feel like it could be espionage. They hack Malaysia, they steal crisis meeting minute notes, and they steal classified information, and they drop a Mayday call that they intercepted from Taiwanese embassy saying that the plane was disintegrating and attempted an emergency landing at 2:43 a.m., which you convert that in Malaysian time, that's 1843. That's the same time this person's saying the plane disappeared. The part that's bugging me out about this is I've been saying the plane's disappearing at 1840, not 1843. So if somebody was pulling my information into this using AI, they would have used 1840 was the time they would have come up with to try to have it link up with what I've been saying. They wouldn't say 1843. Then China submits when they publish the satellite images, where I think only we have speculated this, right? Nobody out there has speculated this except for us, that the Chinese satellite images were spycraft. We speculated the Chinese satellite images were spycraft because we're looking at 3 orbs in those Chinese satellite images, right? And it doesn't even look like they're in the water. It looks like they're up by next to and there's cumulus clouds in the background of the Chinese satellite images. Man, that's weird. So then China supposedly figures out that the batteries were rigged and that they got played with, and they figure out that the defectors didn't turn on them. So this person in this recording claims the defectors didn't turn on China, that the defectors didn't even know. The defectors thought they were defecting to China, and then they get their whole plan blown up. Like, imagine how scared those people would be. Holy crap. You imagine you're defecting to China, and all of a sudden your plane starts on fire, and then it gets teleported away to, like, Diego Garcia or something? So, and then they mentions the defectors having a corrective experience. Hell yeah, that's a corrective experience. Are you kidding me? If somebody teleports my plane away, if I go get on my next plane and I get teleported to Diego Garcia, yeah, I'm not going to be talking about MH370 anymore, guys. I'm done. Especially if they let me live after that. So, yeah, if I go dark, guys, you know why. I'll have, quote unquote, had a corrective experience. Okay. And then, just because it's not wild enough, then he says that, okay, the defectors lived, but the other 200 people had a confusing death experience. What the hell does that mean? Does that mean they didn't survive the plane because you think your plane's going to crash and all of a sudden your plane disappears? Or your plane disappears and then you show up and then you get fed the cyanide pancakes. And then you die at some military base. Like, God, I don't know. No matter what, it's freaky. And then he mentions the 2014 footage published on YouTube. I was trying to think, is there something we can catch him on here? Right? Can we catch him on something here? But no, like, I was thinking, well, maybe they're wrong because we are speculating that the footage got posted on a forum, right? But they don't talk about the forum or where it got leaked. They just talk about it getting directly published on YouTube. I don't know what this I don't think there's anything we can verify or disprove on this part. And then they talk about the person responsible being taken care of. I don't know what that means. Does that mean they killed them? Does that mean that it's Edward C. Lynn and they put him in prison? And then they say, not by us, not our problem. And I was initially thinking that maybe this is like a different, now it's a foreign country, right? Maybe this person's from India or they're from Taiwan. Taiwan is the one I keep thinking of because Edward C. Lynn had links to Taiwan. So Edward C. Lynn actually had links to Taiwan. And in his case, they try to like prove that he was talking to someone from Taiwan or something like that. So I keep thinking maybe it's someone from Taiwan, or people pointed out to me it could be that it was just a different department. Like maybe the FBI and NCIS had to take care of it, so therefore it's not their problem. It's, problem for the FBI and NCIS to figure out. I'm not sure. Mossad, interesting. Thing about Israelis is that their English is usually pretty good. Like I don't think they're gonna mess up. Like I've had a lot of Israeli friends, especially when I lived in Singapore, and they don't mess up the language things here as much as people from Asia do. Like this screams to me. I lived in Singapore where everybody there is basically Chinese, and most people speak Mandarin. And when they speak English, they make a lot of the same grammatical mistakes that this letter does. So to me, it screams like whoever made this is from Asia and potentially even of Chinese ancestry. Doesn't mean they're like Chinese like CPP, but or CCP, I mean, but it does mean I think the Israeli friends would speak English like as well as like an American would. So I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, let's get to the last part. The last part, right, is really wild too.
There was a guest on the Joe Rogan podcast that was talking about sacred geometry and some new technology his friends had discovered on some island somewhere. He did record another episode, but it never been published. Doesn't the wording sacred geometry remind you of something? If you choose to spend time on this, which I think you should instead of mall aliens.
Just real quick, twice in this letter did they just rail on me for talking about mall aliens. That's bizarre to me. It's bizarre for two reasons. One, because this account published 3 videos about mall aliens before this. And second, it feels like they're really pissed off about me talking about mall aliens. My mall aliens post got 10 million views. 10 million views. So it feels like they were upset.
Keep in mind that your case is one product of the technology. What happens on the other island, you will understand this if you pursue it, is another more rudimentary product. What if those in combination could lead you on the right path to the actual technology? The gray-bearded man is the key, and he probably has no idea that he is. Finally, I want to say this. How do you defeat someone who can turn skyscrapers to dust, completely erase whole neighborhoods in an afternoon, and steal a burning Boeing 777 midair? Someone who, when needed, has the complete control of all media and crafts the perception of events and has most of humanity eating from its hands. After almost a full life in their service, I think I know the answer. You talk about them, and you don't stop talking.
God damn, that's just straight up creepiest letter I'm ever going to get in my life. At least I hope it's the creepiest letter I'm ever going to get in my life. If I get a letter creepier than that, then I'm probably going to get disappeared. That's definitely the creepiest letter I've ever gotten in my life. Just absolutely. That last paragraph is chilling. Let's listen to the last part one more time. This last part is just
no idea that
chilling.
he is. Finally, I want to say this.
And right here, when he goes, finally, I want to say this, right after this, it gets like angry, right? It gets angry here.
How do you defeat someone who can turn skyscrapers to dust, completely erase whole neighborhoods in an afternoon, and steal a burning Boeing 777 midair? Someone who, when needed, has the complete control of all media and crafts the perception of events and has most of humanity eating from its hands. After almost a full life in their service, I think I know the answer. You talk about them, and you don't stop talking.
God damn, that's weird, man. God damn, that's creepy, folks. God damn, that's creepy. Yeah, the only thing creepy would be if I get a letter from my future self. Hey, Krakadana. I'm trying to get, I want to do, oh, sorry, ad just went off. Man, god dang, that's creepy, folks. Yeah, the fact that they did this through a way where they couldn't be tracked, right? Like, if you're going to send me a letter like this, you could mail it to me. Even the debunkers have my address. If they wanted to troll me, they could send me a letter like this, right? But no, they don't want anything to track it. It definitely feels like it would have to be somebody from outside the country, right? So weird, man. They actually send this through a weird YouTube account. They knew I would see it eventually, but they didn't seem to care. Like, they didn't send it to me on like January 9th. They didn't like ping me. They waited for me to find it a day later. Yeah, the AI is reading a letter. I think you're right, Eve. People have said, oh, AI can do the angry stuff. There's too much stuff in there where it feels like they're reading a letter through a voice changer. There's a lot of stuff where it seems like they're... Yeah, how is the vocal tone so perfect? Exactly. Alex, so this is what I was saying early on. Everyone was yelling at me going, no, the AI can do all this cool stuff. I'm going, dude, you have to program it to do that. Like, to me, the easier way to do this is you have a letter, you translate it using like Google Translate, and then you have somebody read it using a voice modifier. That's what it feels like. But I just don't know. I still feel like I'm missing something. Still feel like I'm missing something with regards to it. And yeah, hey Krakadana, hey. So just for people who don't know, I thought maybe it could be Punjabi. Did I ask Punjabi Batman? I think I did ask Punjabi Batman. He was one of the people that I thought could pull this off because he seems to have enough technical background, but he said he doesn't have it. I also don't think he's like... I think Punjabi Batman's dedicated, let's say, but I know some personal information about him that makes me think it's really unlikely. Like, this is too detailed. And I don't think he has the scientific background to create this letter in terms of, like, he could technically do it, but I mean, like, the scientific background to do it. I don't think he has it. There's a few people I've suspected, but I even thought maybe Bob Greenyer did this, but we've ruled him out too. I even asked Dave Rossi, even though I thought there was a very low percentage chance, but I've asked a few people, honestly, if they made this, because it's that weird and that personal. Like, it feels like it has to be someone like very close to me. Or it's just some psyop, right? So what are the options? Could be a psyop from another country, could be a psyop from the United States. Could be a stalker who has been following the case really well. If it's so, they have to know quite a bit about science. Keemstar made a good point that it seems like it would have to be somebody young in order to be able to pull it off, but I actually don't think so. I think that if we go with Google Translate plus voice changer, then I think that could be somebody who's old. Could be somebody older to pull that off. That's not too complicated. And they could be using an intermediary, okay? So here's another thing. Also, if you're going to send somebody a letter like this, you don't really send it to somebody who calls themselves a citizen investigator or citizen journalist, because if I can figure out a plane being teleported, I can probably figure out who's sending me a letter like this, right? Like we're doing right now, right? We can kind of figure out, like, we can deduce a lot of information from this, from the inflections, from the grammatical mistakes. We can even, I think, get pretty close to how they created it as well. So, you know, I don't know what that all means, but I think there's more to be figured out for here. Okay. And if it is, okay, so anyway, so it could be a stalker. It could also be, I don't know, what are the other options? Honestly, right now, that's where I'm leaning. I'm honestly leaning either towards some kind of weird psyop from either a foreign country or our own country, or my own country, United States, or some kind of stalker. Those are the things I'm leaning on right now. Yeah, I don't think that the debunkers care enough. And the parts about how it tries to encourage us and not talk about mall aliens, like, that's the part where, like, I think it rules out the debunkers. Somebody asked about the mall aliens. So the mall aliens was, I want to say, early January, like January 7th. So this was over 2 weeks ago. Or actually, no, like January 5th. No, because January 5th, like January 6th is when it started happening. I made the post like January 7th. It was a Friday, I think. Let me look at the dates, because I know exactly when I made the post. Because this is the thing, too. We can narrow down how quickly they made this, because I know when I made the mall alien post. February 5th, because that was the day I was on Tim Pool. That was the same morning that I made the mall alien post. It got 10 million views. It's my #1 most viewed post. I don't think I made any money off of it, if anyone wants to yell at me, because I think that they got, I think it got community noted. So you don't make any money if you get community noted, so no one has to worry about me grifting people about mall aliens or whatever. I did not expect it to get that many views. And it turned out to be some bullshit. Like, I think that it was like this weird viral sensation, because I heard the thing that ended it for me in terms of, like, you know, there was nothing going on there. It was very weird. All these cop cars descended on this mall, like, not just a few, but like 60 to 100 cop cars, like way too many. And it was supposedly just for some kids fighting with fireworks. Didn't make any sense. So that whole mall aliens thing made like no sense. And I was already suspicious of the mall aliens thing, because I had seen a post on Conspiracy like a couple days before about how many weird cop cars there were. And so that's why I made the Twitter post about it. It blew up, got huge. And that's the story of the mall aliens thing. Now, so they say there was a guest on the Joe Rogan podcast talking about sacred geometry. People who followed were able to figure out right away that was Randall Carlson, somebody who I had never heard of. He said his friend discovered something on an island somewhere. That's Malcolm Bendall. We've talked about that. And he was actually on... I found out the story of the Joe Rogan podcast as well with Malcolm Bendall. So I talked to somebody who was there, and they said that he and Joe Rogan got in a little bit of got a little heated during the interview, and that the producer then was it Jamie Vernon, like, I guess, looked up a bunch of information about Bendall, and there's like all this disinformation about how he was like a scammer or something like that. And so Joe Rogan like just didn't air the episode. But Malcolm Bendall has been on an island in the Maldives for like 7 years. So if the guy's a scammer, he's pretty dedicated to his craft in terms of, like, you know, the plasmoid research and stuff like that. I think he's probably legit. If Bob Greener's hanging out with him, he's probably legit. At least he thinks he's legit. I haven't got in touch with Randall Carlson. It's not because I'm not interested. I just have been busy. But yeah, I do have some interest. If he's out there, if people have connections to him, I may try to reach out through George, who knows him. I was watching a stream with them on it. But really, I think the person they're trying to get me in touch with is not Randall. I think it's probably Malcolm. But, you know, either of them would be interesting to talk to. But the reality is, I'm not sure my scientific level is high enough yet to understand all that at the moment. And then, so then it says, does sacred geometry remind you of something? So the Visa Pisces or whatever it is, there's two things it reminds me of, or maybe three. Toroids in general, like a toroidal shape, a donut shape. The other thing it reminds me of is the Visa Pisces, which was like the interacting fields where Bob Grenier said like the safe spot was like below the middle. It reminds me of that. And then it also reminds me of the, I think I have it up actually. the NASA scientific report. So I'm just looking to see if I have it. Maybe I don't have it up anymore. I don't think I have it up anymore. But yeah, so it reminds me of those three options, and I don't know which one they're trying to get me to think of. Probably toroids would be the ones I would guess, but not sure. And then they say that our case against is one product of the test. What happens on the other island? So initially people were confused here, thinking maybe they were talking about some other island in addition to Diego Garcia. But I think that what they're mentioning here is Malcolm Bendel's island being the original island, and that this island is Diego Garcia. And when they talk about more rudimentary, what they're saying is that I think it's a callback to their elegant monostructure from up above. They're saying that, yes, it's similar to Malcolm Bendall's technology, but more rudimentary, aka rudimentary meaning like it's more simplistic, but then again, it can be built upon to lead to other technology. And then what if we follow that, it could lead us to the actual technology. So basically what they're saying there is if you follow Malcolm Bendall, then in the plasma research, then theoretically we can figure out what research and technology the United States government's using. That's how I interpret that. And then the last paragraph, right, is super weird, where it talks about like basically like how do we beat the United States government? How do we get a statement out of them? If they control all mainstream media, which they absolutely do, I had already concluded that. And you know the craziest part about the last thing is, if you had talked to me 6 months ago, I would not have believed that the United States government controls all of the media. I would have thought they influence them. But through the course of this investigation, I've reached a point where I absolutely think that the United States government completely controls the media. Like 100% controls it. What is it? Project Mockingbird, I think it's called, right? Is that what it's called, chat? The one where like the CIA controls the media? Yeah. Yeah, Central Intelligence Agency. Manipulate domestic American news sources for propaganda purposes. Exactly. Yep. Operation Mockingbird. I'm sorry, I've never looked it up. But yeah, I truly believe that they do control it. So like what they say in that last paragraph freaks me out. Like, it's like, yes, they do control the media. And we know because no mainstream media have talked to me. Which, like, this should be something would be like a big story that they could talk about, right? And they won't. And it's also weird that none of the UFOlogy people, like the celebrity UFO people that are all on TV every day, none of them would even make a statement on the videos. Think of this, guys. Ross Coulthart has never made an official statement on any social media about the videos. Jeremy Corbell has never made an official statement on the videos. He's followed me for months. He's never made a statement about the videos. George Knapp never made a statement about the videos. Lou Elizondo never made a statement about the videos. Chris Mellon never made a statement about the videos. How have none of them, not even to come out and say, no, they're not real, right? If like, we came out and showed some stupid fake video, wouldn't all those people come out and say it's not real? It's all their fans are watching it, they're asking them. Something is wrong. So anyway, the last part, when they say you talk about it and you don't stop talking, that message received. Message received, Scary Dan or whoever sent that letter. Message received. I got you loud and clear. I hear you loud and clear. So, okay, guys. Pretty bizarre, man. Pretty bizarre. So I think tomorrow, how many posts would this be? I don't want to do 5 posts. I'm going to combine these up somehow. I think we can do 1 post about the tech. Call this one 4 Orbs. I think we do 3 posts. 3 posts. 1 can be about not stopping. So you take the first paragraph here and you take the last one and combine those together. And maybe we post that one at the end. So that'll be the 3rd post. The first post is going to be about the defectors and we take this part up here, defectors part 1 and defectors part 2, combine those together. The second post is the technology, where you do these 2 paragraphs together, and then the last post is about continuing to talk, and the Joe Rogan stuff. I think that's what we do. Yeah, craziest part is 6 months ago, I would have said the Project Mockingbird stuff's fake, and now I'm sitting here going, it's absolutely true. That's what I've had the biggest red pill in potentially all of history. I potentially had the biggest red pill in all of history, man. This case is just, and keep in mind, guys, I was never an investigator or even a citizen journalist before this. I just call myself that. I'm just a normal person who is now like sitting here wondering why. On August 14th, I remember the date because I researched it, I was begging mainstream media to pick this up. I was begging them to pick this up. I'll show the videos one more time before we go to sleep here. Let's show the thermal because we've already showed the satellite. I was begging the mainstream media to pick this up, guys, and report on it, and they didn't. And I'm sitting here wondering why they won't report on like what seems to be a huge, huge story. Even if it's fake, it's a huge story, right? But they won't report it at all. Yeah, no, I know. And once you unsee it, and I've mentioned this before, but there's a South Park episode where Stan wakes up and all he sees everything is shit. All the music is shit. Everything is shit. And that's what my life is now. It's like once you unsee it, and at the end you think, oh, is it going to go back to normal for him? It never goes back to normal. He always sees everything. He just learns to deal with the fact that everything he sees is shit. That's what I feel like right now. That's what I feel like. And it's like, okay, well, now what? Everything's shit now. Everything I hear, everything I see is fake. What do I... Every message I hear on the news and from mainstream media is fake. Like, how do you go back after that? You can't, right? You just have to learn to deal with knowing that everything in the world is fake. I think some people Googled the email address. I don't remember what they found. I emailed the email address myself, like right after I heard this I listened to it like third or fourth time, and I went, what the hell is this? Is this a joke? No, yeah, I think that if you think of movies like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, it's like, man, if I could just wipe these memories out and go back to sleep. Thanks, Skinny Bob. That means a lot, man. It really does. Skinny Bob says, you've created the greatest community that I've ever had the pleasure to be a part of. I hope that if we have to eat some cyanide pancakes, that we can all eat those cyanide pancakes together, community. We'll eat those pancakes together, chat. No, the ontological shock, I've gotten over the ontological shock. The ontological shock struck me for like 2 weeks. 2 weeks I woke up every day. I couldn't even sleep. I couldn't even sleep for a couple of weeks. I kept waking up in the middle of the night for weeks. And just thinking like, how is this all real? How is teleportation real? And the problem was that I knew it could be real. You can actually just see the smoke trails evolving. Like I think Punjabi Batman pointed it out. You see the smoke trails here shaking. I guess they'll say that's compression artifacts. But they actually separate a little bit and begin to dissipate. You can actually see it right there. Look at the smoke trails up here. They're starting to dissipate. They're expanding as well. I think that smoke trails are actually accurately expanding. No, they definitely are, right? You can see them very narrow right here and they get wider, right? And start to dissipate. This might be the best frame for it right here. I mean, you can clearly see it. And people are saying these are coming from the engines. No, I don't think so. I think those people are disinformation. I think it would be wider if they were coming from the engines. Huh. Yeah, and right there as well, where it gets lighter there. Huh. Bizarre, man. Yeah, if this is VFX, that's some pretty darn good VFX. Well, let me play my pretty darn good clip. Yeah, I love you too, Sandy. They send themselves out the airlock.
If these are effects, they're pretty darn good.
Avenue 5, man. This show's hilarious. Too funny. You can definitely see some smoke. The question is what kind of chemicals, right? So the disinformation that the debunkers came up with there, and that one was, I think, a Corridor Crew thing that they came up with, and then the Lore Lodge guys just pretended like it was their idea. You can't see smoke. You can't see smoke in IR. Like, obviously, whether or not you can see smoke in IR is going to depend on what chemicals you can see, right? If you can see exhaust, why would you not be able to see smoke? So it seems like if it's lithium-ion battery fire with deadly toxic chemicals spewing out, personally, I don't even think it really needs to be addressed. It seems very obvious you should be able to see it in IR. I mean, you can see the exhaust from, like, even just from gasoline getting poured into a car, you can see that in IR. So, like, hydrocarbons are going to show up in IR. I think we researched it, actually, after that. You guys can look up some videos on it for sure, though. I think I was just clear about that, right, guys? Like, the funny part is I think the Corridor Crew saw, like, they took some, like, water vapor, and they said, oh, you can't see the water vapor in IR. Okay, that's not the same as lithium-ion battery smoke. But it'd be something to look into. Hey, Jeff. Dude, Jeff. I appreciate that, man. Nah, it's not the third orb. I know what you're talking about. It's not the third orb. So people are getting confused because there are, like, white caps down here. These white caps are not orbs, guys. These aren't orbs. So don't get yourself confused when you see little dots. Some of this is clouds, and some of it's white caps on the ocean. Potentially waves and stuff like that. It's hard to differentiate, but you can clearly see orb number 1 here. I'll show you when orb number 2 shows up. So orb number 2 is about to show up right where my mouse is. It's going to come out of the water right here, shoot on this way, and then shoot up. And orb number 3 comes in from the left, okay? So this is not a debate. That's what's happening. You can see them, okay? So anything else you think you're seeing or whatever is not the orbs. So there's the second orb, just shows up right there. I'll go full screen just so we really, I want to, I want to put the nail in the coffin of this. A lot of people think they're seeing, like, also the black thing is not a bird, that's the mouse. So second orb is about to show up right here where my mouse is. There it is. So the second orb is actually right here through this cloud now. It just skimmed across the water, shot up. Now this right here is the mouse, guys. This is the mouse right here, okay? This is not the orb, this is a mouse. Okay, and the third orb is coming right now from the top left side of the screen. Okay, so hopefully we're good with all that. So if you're confused, this is the mouse down here again. So you guys have access to the videos. I just posted this video. You can watch it yourself 12 times. I don't want anyone to be making more claims about where the orbs are or whatever. I mean, you can. I don't really care, but just to be clear, I've addressed them. So hopefully that helps you out, Jeff. Yeah, and all those YouTubers and stuff are connected to one another as well. It's not random that these people are all coming up with the same exact arguments either. I mean, Julian Dory and Danny straight up told me they are. Right? They're friends with those guys. Like, that's why they did all that stuff. That's why, like, Nico was a big wuss and, like, wouldn't face me face to face. None of those guys would ever debate me face to face. No chance, right? Because they deal in propaganda. Right? They deal in propaganda. I deal in talking to people on stream face-to-face. I'm a public speaker. There are people that make videos that laugh on couches and then they never address it ever again, right? They're clowns. They're just clowns. Okay, guys, I think we're good on that. Walter Bosley about... Oh, that would be sick. I don't know who that is, Walter Bosley, but I'll look him up later, Bernie. But yeah, Bernie, anytime you want me back on, you got me on speed dial. You know that. Appreciate it. I also appreciated the email you sent me the other day. Yeah, anybody who's cool with us and has been nice, of course, I'll go back on them. But anybody who is rude, I'm never going to go back on their show again. I mean, that should go without saying, right? Just, you had your chance, You should never be rude to your guest as a podcaster. That's just silly. It takes a lot of ego to be rude to your guest. Okay. And then the last thing I want to say before I go to sleep here, which I've been on for like an hour longer than I thought I would be tonight. Wow, yeah, it was a long podcast or a long stream tonight. Was that I'm going to see if Chad and Sherry from Investigate Earth want to review the letter. I was scared about going through the letter because I thought maybe it was fake and I don't want to get caught on something and doing podcasts about it. But even if it's fake, it's super compelling, right? Even if this letter is fake, it's ridiculously compelling. So I think I'm going to see if Investigate Earth wants to do one last MH370 interview with me where we play the whole letter and then I talk about it and I can break it down the same way I did with you guys. I think that would be really compelling because I just think it's a crazy story, right? And they were fine with doing that for the Y files. So I was thinking maybe it would be a copyright problem. But they didn't have any problem playing the Y file stuff, so I guess they're not afraid of that. So we may do that as well. If so, that'll be that'll be an awesome interview if we play this and then go through all this. I think that'll be a good that'll be like a good cap of the whole MH370 story to where we've gone now. Okay, guys. I hope you guys have a good night. We will be talking again tomorrow. Tomorrow, I think the plan is to do... Oh, hey, Diamond, how's it going, buddy? I'm a big fan of Diamond's work as well. He's been somebody who has been really awesome to us. I do plan to do more thank you messages to the podcasters who have treated us well and, just are cool people that I like hanging out with. I think that I've learned so much. Just real quick, I'm going to do my little soapbox thing. I've learned so much just from talking to all the different podcasters and seeing everybody's different perspectives and point of views. It's actually changed me as a person. It's changed somewhat my political beliefs, but also just my beliefs about humanity in general. There's just a lot of awesome people out there, and that's part of the reason why I keep doing all these podcasts, because I just want to try to support alternative media as much as possible, especially all these people who I never knew they existed before, right? So thanks, man. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Love you all. Thanks, MH370X. I'm out.